Welcome, everyone, to episode 108 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random game on Xbox Game Pass and decide, does evil always come from within?
Or is it more like it's from outside?
Maybe. This episode, we're going to be talking about The Evil Within 2 by Tango Gameworks. And this game came out back in October of 2017 on, I think, all platforms at that time.
October is an appropriate month to release a scary game.
It absolutely is. Absolutely. And we, of course, I played this on the PC. Tom, you played it on the Xbox. On the PC, it was 34.6 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
29.8 gigabytes on the Xbox.
Okay, Tango. Well done for that.
They know how to dance.
They do. They know how to dance with those gigabytes and hard drive spaces and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
And the devil? Question mark.
Ooh, we're about to find out. But what kind of game is this, Tom?
Your favorite, Chris. Third-person survival horror.
Yeah, I put third-person action horror game because I didn't know, like, where is the survival part of it? I mean, isn't that just
all games? All games are don't die. Yeah, I mean, I suppose so.
All right. So what is that game loop, though, Tom?
I have investigate creepy environments to locate clues and advance the plot via triggered cutscenes.
Wow. That was pretty descriptive. I just put progress the story by surviving the horrors.
And you wonder where the survival horror is.
Well, okay,
you put it in your game loop.
Yeah. All right. I guess. I was trying to be more generic with the first part, and that's what happened. So
that's fair, I suppose.
Yeah. So, supposing, do we like anything about this game?
No, nothing. My whole likes column is blank. That's not true. I want to say it has really great cinematic scene transitions.
Yep.
They do a really good job of like moving from scene to scene in a really cool way. It's not like a Star Wars wipe, but it is. No. They do a very good job of moving from one sequence to the next. I really like that.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with that. I don't know if they did this in the first one because, again, we were playing the sequel. And I think you and I have that same, like with Uncharted, where it had that, like, you would have a nice, like, not a pre-rendered cutscene, but using the game assets to do the cutscenes and then seamlessly transition. It just keeps you in the game without like being that little jarring moments of like, oh, okay, now I'm actually playing the game, which also can mess you up though, right? Because like, you don't know if the cutscene's over and you're just kind of standing there like, what happened now? So
it's true. I mean, I think it probably started with Resident Evil 4. With this isn't a cutscene. This is
right. I think these are like the worst games to do that because like if something's chasing you and you're just still standing there, think it's part of the cutscene, you're like, oh, I'm dead. Okay, I guess I have to start over.
Yeah. This game does a good job of teaching you the controls. I love when a game makes me play through learning the controls. The prologue in this case does that for you here.
Yep.
So you're playing the game, but also getting exposition and learning the controls all at the same time.
Yeah.
And really this game, I think, gets you invested in the characters and the plot very quickly. Sometimes you're just watching cutscenes for a long time and it's like, oh yeah, this is all exposition. I guess I need to know, but doesn't really draw you into the characters. It doesn't get you attached to them. This, you're playing it, you're experiencing it, as yourself. And the story is interesting. So it's like, oh, I feel bad for this guy. Oh, look at all this stuff that happened to him. Like,
yeah. I mean, the first scene is you walking into a burning house, right? And trying to save your daughter, or like, I mean, at least from the context clues that I got, it was his daughter. So yeah, I definitely see like you. Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm this guy. Like again, you and I have not played the first game, so
Nope.
that's what we got from like the fact that we could understand this guy's issues, his concerns, and be like, okay, I'm invested enough to see where the story takes me. So yeah, and it's a decent looking game. It's it's from 2017, not bad looking for what it is. It has that, which makes sense now that I think about it, because Shinji Mikami was one of the initial creators of Resident Evil, from what I understand, and that has those vibes of Resident Evil for sure. Like the slow plotting, I guess zombies or whatever, and like overall creepiness of the game has that, has it in spades. So, what else did you like about this game?
Um, to touching on exactly what you just said there, I think it does a really good job of inspiring dread.
Yeah,
Just like the original Resident Evil did with the controls. Here, like you start off, you don't have weapons. Your view is obscured at different points in
mhm,
time. So it creates this very claustrophobic, very like I'm powerless in this environment kind of feeling in you,
yeah,
which is great if you're looking to create a horror game. Like you need to do that. Otherwise, it's just not going to be scary.
yeah. I didn't do this, but I saw you put this in your notes about the first person mode.
Yep.
I was terrified because of my time playing through Resident Evil 7. I was like, I'm not playing this game in first person. But did you happen to play it in first person?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I toggled it on, but it toggled in seamlessly, which was cool.
Okay.
Uh, I will tell you that your feet are not visible there, Chris.
Oh, okay.
If you play in first person, and it does have the because some of the cutscenes are triggered and need to be in third person because that's just the way that the game is.
Sure.
It'll camera back out, play through that
Oh,
sequence, and then move you back into first person at the first opportunity. So
that's
kind of a good thing, I guess, if you were not sure when you're playing the game or not, right? You
yeah,
could play it in
yeah.
first person and you definitely know when you're
That's a
in
good point.
control of your character.
That's a good point. Yeah. I'm glad you tried that out. I'm glad I didn't. But I'm also glad that there was difficulty settings that were pretty nice. I like for me, I'm okay with third person games overall, but like the fact that I don't have to get concerned about being stuck in a particular sequence or whatnot. And there is a casual mode, like for someone that just wants to go through the story, and that's great. I'm glad about that. And the controls overall I thought felt pretty good. I didn't feel any like I didn't feel like I was, because there's a cover mechanic in the game,
Yeah,
and I think it worked pretty well. I mean, it's probably not as snappy as like say like a Gears of War,
sure.
but it worked for what it was.
Yeah, it probably doesn't need to be as snappy as it needs to
Right.
be in Gears of War.
Right.
But that said, they do give you the control and the ability to change that stuff around. So
Yeah.
if you don't like the default layout, you can change it. And I think that's really crucial to me in my enjoyment of games is the ability to make those changes. So
Yeah.
very happy to see those here. The difficulty and also the control settings.
Absolutely. All right. Is there anything else you want to bring up here about the likes or?
I did appreciate just a small little bonus
Mhm.
that in the loading sequences, it gives you a little recap of like
Oh,
what you just did. Um, so it's just like a quick set of notes, like what your character's up to, right then and there. I just appreciate it because
oh,
sometimes when you're playing one of these games, maybe you kind of lose track of what your objective is.
yeah.
And this was it was like, you went to the city and did this, and now you're doing that. And I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. Thanks. I appreciate that.
I don't think I ever saw that though. I
Maybe
mean,
your game just loads so fast you
maybe
didn't get
I
them.
mean that's the thing, right? Like that. Like there's the benefit of obviously having a game that loads quickly and you can get to wherever you need to be. But these little touches of like reminding, because I totally agree with you. That's like such a nice thing to have, because this is a kind of game where a very story driven, and for you to like drop it and then come back later, a week or a month down the line and be like, oh, where was I again? Do I have to start this whole game all over because I don't know what I'm doing? Like, it's nice to have that kind of somewhere in the game to tell you, hey, this is what you've done so far. Here's a recap, and then go about your business. But yeah, that's cool. That's cool that they did that. I'm saddened that I didn't get to see it. But yeah.
Anything any developer can do to mitigate the staring at a screen waiting for a bar to fill is a good move.
Yeah.
And this was just a handy one. I just thought it was interesting. A lot of times games have like little bits of lore or something, loading through in the loading sequences. But this was much more like directed towards what you were actually doing in that moment and what you had just previously done. So I like that, as opposed to just, did you know your crossbow can shoot 3 bolts kind of thing? Yeah. It's like, I don't care.
All right. So I think that's what we got for our likes. And shall we go to our dislikes there, Tom?
Yes. Unfortunately, I have quite a few of these as well. But in fairness to the game, a lot of these are personal. So,
sure.
your mileage may vary here. So the plot, I don't know. It's pretty messed up. It's pretty dark right from the jump. I just feel like characters made a lot of bad choices, and you really don't have any, way to interact with that or change it.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of ways on rails, and a string of bad decisions that that's just what the character is going to do. So here you go.
Yeah.
It's like watching a horror movie, and you're like, no, don't open that. No, just don't open that door.
Right. Which is like also frustrating, because you have some agency here to do, like, to make those right decisions, but you can't, because the game's like, no, you're not allowed to do that. And I agree with you. The plot was pretty messed up. I mean, essentially, you thought your daughter was dead.
Yep.
And she's got some sort of power, from what I'm understanding.
Yep.
And
seems like it.
Yeah. And now she's like, they threw her into like some sort of canister, and she's like, they're just using her for some weird, I don't even know what's going on. Some creepy corporation yet again doing something with children yet again. So it's weird. And speaking of which, there's just so many cutscenes. I don't know how many. Like, I think I only played maybe 20 minutes of the game when I went through it. And it was just a lot of cutscenes and a lot of eye-rolling dialogue. Like, it was so cheesy. Like that first encounter with him and I forgot her name. Like at the bar, I was just like, this is just some garbage ass writing. But it wasn't great. But the game overall was still like, it kept you going. It at least gave you the motivations, like what's going on and all that stuff. So, okay, it was serviceable in that sense. So,
yeah, it is going somewhere,
right?
Which I appreciated, and it does all seem to build on, trying to establish who these characters are and why you should care about them. But that said, there are a lot of references, I think, to the first game. I'm not sure, because, we didn't play it. But I hate that sense that it creates in me that I'm missing content.
It's funny, because we were just talking about that other game. Oh my God, what was the other game that we just played? Was it Dragon Age? Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Where
Dragon Age 2.
2 did a good job of, like, you're potentially missing references, but at the same time, like, you don't feel like left out, if that makes, like, the inside joke kind of thing. You're like, oh, okay, like, whatever. So yeah, I think that did a pretty good job with that. I mean, whereas this one, Evil Within 2 wasn't as apparent, because there's like so many characters. You're like, who is this person? What do they do? And like, You're just like, oh, okay, I'm just supposed to assume who this person is and what they do now. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's playing a sequel.
Yeah.
There,
Definitely.
there, there, there are things it does well that you're like, oh, great, that this is important, to get
Yeah.
you into the game. But at the same time, maybe it's just too heavy-handed with it. I'm not exactly sure how to put my finger on it, but it just feels like the whole time the game is like, do you remember that first game that you played? And I'm like, no, I don't.
No,
I don't
no,
remember it because I
no.
didn't.
Yeah. Well, anything else you wanted to bring up here, Tom? I know you got your
Okay,
list. You got your
yeah,
list.
I've got a list here. So there are constant dead ends as you're exploring
Mm,
the house and things. Like the game is very clearly on rails,
yeah.
Which gets frustrating. It's frustrating to be in control of a character, go up to a door, and the door, like, you don't get it. It's not like you get an option to interact with the door and they go, it's locked.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, it's like there's a door here, but you can't open it. Why?
That's
Oh, plot.
that's the thing I don't get either. Like, because there are games that totally at least put something in the way of a door,
Yeah.
or like you have some sort of like, you could have like a creepy barrier or something in front of it to say, okay, I can't go that way. But then it's like, then I feel like you're just wasting time checking doors and stuff like that. Whereas, you could be playing the game. I don't know. Like if it wanted to be an on-rail experience, like that, those visual cues would have been helpful in that sense, just like kind of push you along into the way that they want you to. Clearly they have a way of getting you there, but
Yeah.
but
Speaking of dragging a little bit and being maybe a little bit unfocused, like I played for an hour basically without running into enemies. Like it's not entirely true because I did run into one later in the game experience, but
yeah.
the action is very slow to start here. Like, and I guess this leans into what you're saying about the constant cutscenes, but like.
Yeah.
This game is a game that while it does get you interested and invested in the characters pretty quickly, like it takes a while for like the story to really start happening and the action to really start happening. It's a lot of, it's leaning very heavily on the creating the dread and the creating the suspense and not letting you have weapons. But as a consequence, you're not really playing the game, or at least not playing the whole game until pretty far into it.
Yeah, it's true. But it's like, it's a horror game, so I don't know, it's a push pull kind of thing with that, where you need to know when to kind of move on. And if I am going to be someone that's going to be able to do things, which you do get to, like, you get a knife, you get a pistol, so there is some action in that way. But I think I literally killed maybe 2 zombies, and then that was it. Like that was I got up to the guy who was like barricaded in a house. And that's basically where I ended my playthrough. So yeah, it was. But I did get chased by some creepy thing in the beginning, and so there was that. So that was which again, disturbing. A game is very disturbing, and you have it as a negative, but I don't know if it's a horror game. It's supposed to be just disturbing.
Yeah, I just think it depends on who you are. Like I don't think the game's loaded with jump scares. Like for you, I imagine that should be a negative, right? I mean, well, I put it in my dislikes for you.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand the type of game it is. I'm going to get jump scares, so it's like the fact that if it was a scary game and there was no jump scares or nothing scary about it, I'm like,
sure, okay,
is this a scary game? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a scary. I guess it hit its mark. It accomplished what it set out to do, which was be a horror game. So good job.
Good job, Evil Within. Anything else you want to bring up, or?
So I do think it's weird that I found it interesting that I played for an hour, but only encountered one place to save the game.
Mm,
So I was like, uh-oh, like this sounds bad because that means, like let's say had not found this or didn't found the next one.
right.
Like I can't just like save and quit.
Yep.
But simultaneously, the game is doing autosaves in the background. So, like, which is it, guys?
What's
Like,
the point?
like
What's the point?
if the game is always autosaving, why even have save points? Or why not just let me save and quit? Like, I don't get it.
I feel like they started off the game in that very Resident Evil mindset, and then they were like, "Oh wait, we should probably have autosaves," and then just kind of like, just leave it, just go, shift this game, go. I don't know, but then at the same time, this is the second game, so I'm wondering if the first one has both the same thing again, where you have safe areas, and then like autosaves, which I guess that might be the reason why, like maybe in these hubs, like these safe zones, you can do other things outside of saving, like upgrading your character, because I think is there a characters or a skill tree? I forget. I don't know. I forget. Oh, well, at least you have weapons and stuff like that you can upgrade. So at least there's that you could do there and then save. I don't know. That's the only thing I
I
can
think
think of.
there is a character progression because isn't there like a green slime or green sludge or something like that you're
Yeah.
collecting?
Yeah. So, which we never got to try, but
Nope.
that's okay. That's okay. For me, the other thoughts I have here, how long to beat says this game takes about 13 and a half hours to beat.
Okay.
And the problem though is that this game it has Xbox cloud saves, but I don't think the progression, like mine specifically said it was for PC.
Huh.
So I don't know if I loaded up my Xbox, if I would see the game, like my saves on the Xbox, which is, I don't know, it's a little weird in that sense. So I'm not sure if it's fully Xbox like cross progression compatible. So, it is cloud capable, but you do need a controller. So my TCF toilet compatibility factor is a 1 out of 10
Oh
for this game.
no.
So it's okay. Shout out to Dave from Tales from the Backlog for that new acronym to use. And the one thing I will say, this is the same developer that just came out with that game Hi-Fi Rush, which I love, and the game is amazing. If anyone hasn't played that, play it. It's awesome. And well, kudos to them for making that game.
I did.
Tom,
I watched the trailer after you talk about Hi-Fi Rush so much, and I love that the trailer is like from the creators of the Evil Within and the Evil Within too, and they're like, no, seriously, like we did make those,
yeah,
because it's such a departure from this kind of game.
It really is. It really is. But it's so good. But Tom, we got to find out though: is this a game that we're going to be keeping on our collective hard drives? But before we get to that, we wanted to let you know about our spectacular sponsor, Winner Winner. Winner Winner is a live arcade claw machine game available on Android and iOS, and it's 100% skill-based. Trust me, if you see me play my games, you know I'm not that great, and I still have won games on my first try. There's hundreds of prizes, even featuring gaming merch from Nintendo. Pick your prize from choices in your particular game, or bank your earnings with tickets to redeem any other prize you want from their wide selection. And for all you lovely people listening or watching our show, you can get bonus tokens on your first app token purchase. Download and create your account, then use the link in the episode's description to enter promo code WHATITDO after you sign in. Check it out. It's clawsome.
Well. Okay, 13 and a half hours doesn't sound too bad. But frankly, for me, there are just too many references to the first game for me to enjoy playing this second one first. Like, it'd be like going and watching the Two Towers before watching the Fellowship of the Ring. Like, that's the way that it feels to me. I definitely think this is a series that needs to be played in order. So I think if you're going to play this game, play The Evil Within first and then play this.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that expands the how long to beat from 13 and a half, which sounds pretty great, to I'm sure closer to 30, which sounds a whole lot less great. So
you could watch a YouTube recap. I don't know.
Okay. You know what? Maybe I'll think about it. I did enjoy playing it. It's not like I didn't have fun playing this. So
right.
How about you?
For me, it's a tough one, but I can see the polish and the pedigree of the developers. I really can. Like it is a pretty polished game overall. And it's a scary game. So I generally don't like scary games.
No.
But honestly, this development team made one of my favorite games, possibly of all time. I gotta say.
Damn.
And I'll keep playing Hi-Fi Rush, but I'm gonna probably put this one down for now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us on Twitter at TC1H1D or shoot us an email at TC1H1D@outlook.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And if you're watching this on YouTube, try to send us a comment down below and we'll try to comment back to you. And as always, Tom, 1H1D is part of the QTB network. And if you like gaming podcasts and all that other crazy cool content that they do at Quit the Bill, check them all out at quitthebill.com/network.
They can also check us out there.
Yeah, we're there doing some stuff.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But Tom, we got to do one more thing, don't we?
Yes, we need to know what it is that we're playing next.
Yes.
Spoiler, it's not Hi-Fi Rush.
It's not Hi-Fi Rush, unfortunately. Well, I mean, because I'm already playing it. It's great. But the surprise button is going to tell us what we're playing next. So here we go. Okay.
Am I surprised?
Maybe. It is Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was part of our Twitter poll, which did not do very well. But guess what? Surprise button said, you're playing this game anyway. So that's what we're doing. That's the game we're playing next. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. And we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.